What do you do when you're getting your rear end handed to you by the United States Supreme Court, stomping on all of your party's unconstitutional BS? Well, you become a dictator. President Joe Biden is finalizing plans to endorse major changes to the United States Supreme Court in the coming weeks, including proposals for legislation to establish term limits for the justices and an enforceable ethics code. We need to talk about this because I personally am not sure if he can even do this. First off, I want to thank CMMG for making this channel possible. I don't know how I could do it without support of companies and friends like CMMG. They make American products, American tools right here in America in Boonville, Missouri. And if you happen to check them out, you can save with code GNG10. Thank you to CMMG for always being supportive of this channel. All right, guys. Article 3, Section 1 of the United States Constitution says this, and I'll quote it. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior, and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. And since the beginning of this country, that has always been interpreted to mean a lifetime appointment unless they do something so bad they are impeached. So, since the United States Constitution says they have life appointments, and you want to change their appointments and give term limits, what would you need to do that? You want to amend the Constitution? Oh yeah, you need a constitutional amendment to change that. Or anything in the Constitution, not legislation. So Biden is also weighing whether to call for a constitutional amendment, but not for term limits for the justices, but rather to eliminate broad immunity for presidents and other constitutional office holders. Why? Because their attack on Donald Trump was just destroyed by the United States Supreme Court when they said that presidents have immunity for official actions. So, once again, you get your teeth kicked in and you can't get your opponent destroyed. You become a dictator and try to change things before your office term is up. Now, the potential changes come in response to growing outrage among his supporters about recent ethics scandals, surrounding Justice Clarence Thomas and Justice Samuel Alito. They were doing what they were allowed to do under the rules that had been set up and others before them had also done. They have a hair across their ass because of it, and they're going after them for it. But they're also bent, these Democrats, because of decisions the High Court has made that has destroyed many unconstitutional laws that Democrats have been able to pass. Now, Biden previewed these planned dictatorial actions in a Zoom call Saturday with the Congressional Progressive Caucus. And according to the transcript of that call, which was obtained by the Washington Post, you can also get it on the White House's website, Joe Biden said, and I'm going to quote it, quote, "I'm going to need your help on the Supreme Court because I'm about to come out. I don't want to prematurely announce it, but I'm about to come out with a major initiative on limiting the court. I've been working with constitutional scholars for the last 3 months, and I need some help." Well, Joe, I don't care what your obvious Democrat, liberal-leaning constitutional scholars say. The Constitution says what it says. Your friend's opinion matter not. Now, they claim that term limits and an ethics code would be subject to congressional approval. Like I said, term limits, it's in the Constitution. You would need a constitutional amendment to change that. Now, these would face long odds in the Republican-controlled House, right? And they might even face really long odds in the Senate. Even though it's Democrat-controlled, they still would need 60 votes to get it through the Senate, right? To be able to break the filibuster. They need 60 votes to do that. Now, a constitutional amendment requires including 2/3 support from both chambers, or by a convention of 2/3 of the states, and then approval by 3/4 of the state legislatures. That ain't happening. Now, shortly after this information came out, former president and now the official nominee for the Republican Party came out on Truth Social and said this: "The radical left Democrats are desperately trying to play the ref by calling for an illegal and unconstitutional attack on our sacred United States Supreme Court. The reason that these communists are so despondent is that their unlawful witch hunts are failing everywhere. The Democrats are attempting to interfere in the presidential election and destroy our justice system by attacking their political opponent, me, and our honorable Supreme Court. We have to fight for our fair and independent courts and protect our country." MAGA 2024. Now, liberals have been looking to pack the court. That's the term that means increasing the number of justices from 9 to some other number by adding liberal justices. Yes, they can do that. The number of justices has fluctuated in the past, and it's very dangerous. The last president who did it, it cost him his career. Now, the Democrat senators have co-sponsored a bill to establish 18-year terms for Supreme Court justices, with a new justice appointed every 2 years. The 9 most recently appointed justices would sit for appellate jurisdiction cases, while the others would be able to hear original jurisdiction cases or step in as a substitute if one of the most recent 9 is conflicted or can't hear a case for some other reason. Now, the legislation was introduced by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse out of Rhode Island, and it was co-sponsored by Democrats Cory Booker from New Jersey, kooky-eyed Cory, crazy Richard Blumenthal, who looks like the Green Goblin, Alex Padilla from California, Blumenthal's from Connecticut, Jeff Merkley, Oregon, Peter Welch from Vermont, Brian Schatz from Hawaii, and Kirsten Gillibrand out of New York. Now, the Democrats have also offered other legislation to deal with ethics concerns about the High Court, and the bill was put in by Hiawatha, the lying fake Indian Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts and Rep. Pramila Jayapal from Washington. Now, that bill caps gifts that justices can receive, and it would require the court to follow the Judicial Code of Conduct and require justices to provide written recusal decisions upon request from litigants, among other changes. Neither one of those bills are going anywhere, which is why Joe Biden is going to try to do something a la stroke of the pen. Guys and gals, it's getting to the point where they know the gig is up. The gig is up. I would recommend you reach out to your senators and your representatives. Again, area code 202-224-3121. You'll talk to the switchboard, ask for your senator's or your representative's office. If you don't know who they are, they'll ask where do you live, and they'll route you to the right person. And tell them, hell no, leave the Supreme Court alone. Rebuff Joe Biden's attempt to pack the court. Rebuff Joe Biden's attempt to limit terms in violation of the Constitution, and rebuff any attempt on fundamentally changing America. Appreciate y'all. Be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe. Let me know what you think about this absolute insanity below, and I look forward to reading them. Take care.